podcast, What Makes You Smarter. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Let me say it one more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you can have me at your next event. I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Make your next thing a big one. All right. Also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Wednesday, August 12th, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, Biden picks Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate. Presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden announced Tuesday that he has picked Senator Kamala Harris, Democrat California, as his running mate. Harris, the daughter of Indian and Jamaican immigrants, will be the first woman of color on a major party ticket, making her a historic choice as a vice presidential candidate at a time of nationwide protests against racial injustice. She ran for the presidential nomination in a crowded field and briefly surged in polls after criticizing Biden's record on school integration during a debate. Harris, a pragmatic moderate, was considered a strong but safe pick for Biden. Harris earned a reputation for aggressively questioning Trump administration officials and nominees in Senate hearings. President Trump called her, quote, nasty, end quote, and, quote, just about the most liberal person in the U.S. Senate, end quote. This is according to the Washington Post and the New York Times. Number 2, Colorado's Attorney General investigates Aurora Police. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser's office announced Tuesday that it is, quote, investigating patterns and practices of the Aurora Police Department that might deprive individuals of their constitutional rights under state or federal law, end quote. The civil rights inquiry came after several high-profile cases of alleged excessive force and misconduct. The review began several weeks ago, a spokesperson said, and is separate from an investigation into the 2019 death of 23-year-old Elijah McClain, an unarmed black man who died after officers used a chokehold on him. Earlier Tuesday, McClain's family filed a lawsuit against the Aurora Police Department and paramedics who injected him with ketamine. Last week, a video went viral showing Aurora officers holding a black family at gunpoint after police mistakenly thought they were in a stolen car. This is according to the Denver Post and the Associated Press. Number 3, COVID-19 single-day death toll rises above 1,000 again. The nationwide single-day coronavirus death toll exceeded 1,000 again on Tuesday after falling over the weekend, extending the trend of 4-digit tolls for a fourth week. Florida and Georgia recorded record-high single-day death tolls. Florida had 277 of the nation's 1,282 deaths, and Georgia reported 122, according to the Washington Post data analysis. More than 200 Florida residents aged 25 to 44 now have died of COVID-19, more than half of them in July. The New York Times reported, citing an analysis of Florida Department of Health data. That's a small slice of the more than 8,000 COVID-19 deaths in the state, but it marks a shift in a state where Governor Ron DeSantis, Republican, has frequently stressed that the coronavirus is concentrated among the very old. This is according to the Washington Post and the New York Times. Number 4, Big Ten, Pac-12 postpone football seasons. The Big Ten and Pac-12 college conferences on Tuesday called off their fall football seasons due to coronavirus concerns. Quote, this was an extremely difficult and painful decision that we know will have important impacts on our student athletes, coaches, administrators, and our fans, end quote, Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott said, the Big Ten is postponing all fall sports, but hoping to hold a makeup season of some kind in the spring. In a sign of how fast the situation is evolving, the Big Ten's announcement came just 6 days after it released a revised football schedule that only included conference games. Without centralized leadership, the NCAA football conferences are making their own decisions, and the Atlantic Coast Conference, Big 12, and Southeastern Conference all have plans to play a season. This is according to the Associated Press. Number 5, scientists warn Russia's fast tracking of coronavirus vaccine is dangerous. Scientists in Russia and other countries warned Tuesday that Russia's claim to have registered the first coronavirus vaccine was not the breakthrough that Russian President Vladimir Putin claimed. They noted that the vaccine had not gone through final stage, phase 3 trials, which are expected to take months and are the only way to be sure an experimental drug is safe and effective. Quote, fast-tracked approval will not make Russia the leader in the race. It will just expose consumers of the vaccine to an unnecessary danger, end quote, said Russia's Association of Clinical Trials Organizations, which urged government officials to delay approval until the advanced trials are completed. Russian officials say large-scale production of the vaccine is scheduled for September, with vaccination of doctors starting as early as this month. This is according to the Associated Press. Number 6, Democrats release list of convention speakers. The Democratic National Convention Committee on Tuesday unveiled the list of speakers at next week's Democratic National Convention. Former President Barack Obama and several former presidential candidates, including Senators Bernie Sanders, Independent Vermont, and Elizabeth Warren, Democrat Massachusetts, are scheduled to speak. One former primary hopeful, not on the list, Andrew Yang, said he had, quote, expected to speak, end quote. The convention will largely be held virtually, and speakers are expected to appear via live stream or pre-recorded videos. Other speakers include former First Lady Michelle Obama, Jill Biden, and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat, New York. Former Vice President Joe Biden is expected to accept the nomination via video from Delaware. His newly announced running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is slotted to speak on Wednesday night. This is according to CNN. Number 7, Belarus opposition candidate flees to Lithuania. Belarus opposition candidate Svetlana, and I had trouble with this name yesterday, Tikhonovskaya, has fled to Lithuania as crowds continue to protest the re-election of longtime authoritarian President Alexander Lukashenko in a vote widely criticized as rigged. Lithuania's foreign ministry said Tikhonovskaya had arrived and was, quote, safe, end quote, in Belarus. Riot police have fired tear gas, rubber bullets, and stun grenades at people who have taken to the streets in Minsk since election officials announced that Lukashenko beat Tikhonovskaya 80% to 10% in the rare contested national election. No outside observers were allowed to monitor the election, and the internet was down for much of the day, bolstering allegations of voting fraud. Tikhonovskaya claimed Monday that she actually won the popular vote. This is according to BBC News and the Lithuanian Foreign Ministry. Number 8, Trump says U.S. will buy 100 million doses of Moderna vaccine. President Trump said Tuesday that the federal government will purchase 100 million doses of Moderna's experimental coronavirus vaccine, now in late-stage human trials. Moderna said separately that the deal is worth $1.5 billion with a B, bringing the U.S. investment in Moderna's vaccine development to $2.5 billion. The new deal gives the government the option to buy up to 400 million doses, Moderna said. The U.S. has similar arrangements with pharmaceutical giants Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and other drug makers for early access to their potential COVID-19 vaccines. Quote, We are we are investing in the development and manufacture of the top 6 vaccine candidates to ensure rapid delivery, end quote, Trump said. Quote, the military is ready to go. They're ready to deliver a vaccine to Americans as soon as one is fully approved by the FDA, end quote. This is according to CNBC. Number 9, New Zealand under new lockdown after first new COVID-19 cases in 102 days. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern on Tuesday announced that she had ordered a new lockdown after the confirmation of 4 new COVID-19 cases, the country's first in 102 days. All of the cases came from the same household in Auckland, New Zealand's biggest city. The lockdown will last from midday Wednesday through midday Friday. Schools, most businesses, bars, and other non-essential places will be closed. Quote, these 3 days will give us time to assess the situation, gather information, make sure we have widespread contact tracing so we can find out more about how this case arose and make decisions about how to respond, end quote. Ardern said at a hastily arranged news conference. The country has been seen as a success case since Ardern's government declared that COVID-19 had been effectively eradicated in June. This is according to the New York Post. Number 10, Representative Ilhan Omar wins Democratic primary in Minnesota. Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat Minnesota, won her first primary against 4 challengers on Tuesday, beating her main opponent, Antone Melton Moe, M-E-A-U-X, Moe, by more than 15 percentage points. Omar, the first Somali American to be elected to Congress, completed a clean sweep in re-election contests for the members of the, quote, squad, end quote, of progressive women of color elected to Congress in 2018. In another high-profile primary, controversial Republican candidate Marjorie Taylor Greene, known for her incendiary rhetoric, defeated equally pro-Trump neurosurgeon John Cowan. Greene has embraced the QAnon conspiracy theory that asserts that President Trump is fighting, quote, deep state, end quote, Satan-worshiping saboteurs who traffic children for sex. She was ahead by about 15 percentage points early Wednesday, all but wrapping up the election in the deep red district. This is according to the New York Times and the Washington Post. That's 10 things you need to know today for Wednesday, August 12th, 2020. Thank you so much for listening. This has been What Makes You Smarter. I appreciate you listening along as I stumble through these news points. And, I always make sure that once I read these little news bites, I give the footnotes so you can read further and look more into the information that I'm giving, because I'm trying to learn some stuff and I want you to learn as well. So while I'm learning, you're learning. But if I'm the only person that you're getting your news from, you're sadly mistaken. Please go someplace else. Use those footnotes that I give to read more up on what's going on in this world. So much information coming at us. It's so hard to discern what's real and what's not real. So one scientist will say one thing and then another set of scientists will reportedly contradict it completely. Who knows what to believe? I just try to stay safe. And you try to stay safe. Stay vigilant. Also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.